So everyone knows this was in April of this year. We've seen the big problem with all the universities because they've created a bunch of racist students, okay? Yet that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. Like all these professors, all these people carrying on about, these kids marching with pro-Palestine, really marching with Hamas. But, because I've already explained that. Because the governments are what are corrupt. There's innocent people in all countries. The governments are the problem. However, this should not be a surprise. Why is this a surprise to professors? You saw these same students, and you likely were in those marches when you were rallying for Black Lives Matter. BLM is a terrorist organization. Just because the FBI doesn't want to acknowledge that, it just shows that they themselves are corrupt. Because all of the summer of 2020, just ask any Chicago cop, any New York cop, any cop in any major city, and they'll tell you, yeah, they burned the place down. They burned businesses down. They burned cars. They set police cars on fire. They were intimidating to people. There were videos everywhere of it. They are a terrorist organization. I still baffles me that the higher educated, these professors, couldn't realize then that they likely shouldn't be marching with that organization. But they did. But then a bunch of them want to get up in arms because, now they're marching with Hamas. Okay, well, your universities created this mess. And yet I just did a video about how Yale, which is controlled by Skull and Bones, it is. I just did a video about it. They're not their own entity. They have been being controlled by a dark secret society. And that Skull and Bones shaped a medicine for America and the way it was taught in universities. This was in 2010. Skull linked to secret Yale society to be sold. A human skull that once apparently belonged to Yale's mysterious Skull and Bones Society is being sold at an auction. So, I'm going to tell you a little bit more, but first I wanted to show you how it kind of lines up how much Skull and Bones has been involved in medicine. Well, chemicals, let's say. Everyone's seen this symbol, right? Yeah, that's the Skull and Bones. That's their symbol. And that's what you just saw in the lab. That I'm going to go back to that picture, but I'm just pointing something out here. Where else have you seen this? Yeah. Yep. Yep. Skull and Bones. Because they shaped medicine in the universities in this country. They create, basically, it all came from them and the Greek that their orator, that Skull and Bones is basically based around, because it was created in the year 322 BC. That's the reason for the number, their numeral 322. Their orator, who it's all based around, is this guy, Demosthenes. So he is interesting, strange, just all together. But he was running for, or he had a political position, or when he was running for one, his opponent accused him and laid out many examples of him being supporting pedestry. If you're not sure what pedestry is, this is what it is. Pedestry in ancient Greece was a socially acknowledged romantic relationship between an older male and a younger male, usually in his teens. It was characteristic of archaic and classical periods. The influence of pedestry on Greek culture of these periods was so prevalent that it has been called the principal cultural model for free relationships between citizens. Well, I guess that's why every university in this country uses the Greek and Roman Greek stuff, the Roman numerals, all that. Yeah, everything is a Greek society because it all goes back to Skull and Bones. So back to this picture for a moment. You can see there's Skull and Bones. This is from when they were selling on an auction site back in 2010. Do you see the top of the skull? There's like a square. Let me zoom in for you. Now you can see it, right? Well, that's like a flip. That's where they put their votes for members. And yet, what do we have today? Well, we have Yale that's really just, they've shaped the medicine world, they've shaped the science, they've shaped the universities, they've shaped the country because it's their people that are running the place, which is why we're being run into the ground. Them and Harvard. But they're also behind the Global Initiative of Health. Yep, you can see Yale. Our mission, the Yale Institute for Global Health, led by the schools of public health, medicine, and nursing, is a university-wide effort to address global health issues and serves as the focal point for research, education, and engagement with global partners to improve the health of individuals and populations worldwide. You know how many Kennedys are tied to this global health stuff? In Yale, yeah, everywhere. And yet I see people, they love JFK. Maybe it's this love relationship because he died. Look, I don't get the warm fuzzy feelings. I've said it before, to each his own. But Kennedy surrounded himself with people from Hollywood. Okay, people from Hollywood get their wealth. Didn't Kanye West tell everybody how Hollywood maintains their wealth and their popularity? Yeah, they kind of have to make some deals with shady people. They sometimes have to sacrifice some family members, he even said. And yet that's who Kennedy surrounded himself with. And yet the Kennedy, especially Joe Kennedy, was known for being anti-Jew. And now all the universities, they have this going on. JFK was from Harvard. Those are the two big ones that are concerning, but they've all been infected by this. Here's the thing. We have a big immigration problem right now, right? It's not even an immigration problem. It's a deliberate created crisis, just having our borders open. Because they don't want us to be America anymore. They want us to be this. A nation of immigrants. Now, I've heard the whole argument about how, yes, we are a nation of immigrants, but the Democrats really seem to be more focused on the immigrants than us being Americans. Like, if you come here from another country, that's why you have to learn about America, because, yes, you're an American first. If you came here, that should be what you want, unless our borders are open like they are now because they're trying to destroy the country. But yeah, the whole us being a nation of immigrants goes back to the person even that probably before this, but he definitely stood with the Democrats on this. The author, John F. Kennedy, A Nation of Immigrants. And look at where we are now. But then that doesn't surprise me either, because nobody, not the media, I've never heard anybody talk about this, about airlift to America, and how it is that JFK, before he was president, he was senator, and yet he paid, the Kennedy Foundation paid for a bunch of Kenya students to come here against the State Department. The State Department, I think it was a security risk. That's why the State Department wouldn't bring them here. So the Kennedy Foundation paid for them to come here, and it just so happens that Barack Obama's dad was in the second flight coming here. So this love affair people have with JFK, I don't get it. I like when they try to put him above or like as the same as Trump. I just think it's, I'm not going to say what I think it is. There's a very big difference between the two. Trump was honest, okay, and everybody loved JFK. So if the swamp loves you and has put you on a pedestal, then to me it's, and given the history, and like Jesus said, where did the roots, what it produces, look where the vines go to. Well, you see.